Jennifer, within education, then, what do you see as the primary challenges facing school districts, boards, and academic leadership today? And as a coach of high school football and baseball for years, I would answer the parents. But my guess is you have a different answer to that. Challenge.
Well, yes, and no. So a while ago, when I told you I worked at UCLA, I worked for a prominent education psychometrician. So he was a mathematician that
Wow.
studied and helped design assessments, but he was a very big name. And I was his secretary. And so I was exposed to these things, all of these complexities. But one of the things he always said was that this is a very complex business. It's not simple. And if we try to simplify it, we're not going to do well. And so my answer to that question is that it is complex. Yes, it's the relationships we build with the parents. That's part of the culture of our organization. They are one of our primary, partners in this, as are the students, as are community organizations. But when I look at leaders in the field, in the profession, I think there are two things that kind of stand out, and the research supports this as well as just my observation. First of all, the pipeline to build effective leaders for school leaders and then for district leaders is very weak right now. Across the nation, we're having a hard time finding people to fill that pipeline. So you speed up processes, you go through a credentialing program, and there's so much to learn, so many things to learn. Imagine the state legislation, the instructional practices, the content areas that you as a leader kind of have to have a toe in to kind of help support your instruction, just the plant management of how to manage things. And then, of course, with each state, things are constantly changing. California, in my 30 years, has had so many legislative changes that you have to know, understand, and address. And then that emerging leader needs to grow as a leader, an emotional, intelligent leader who can build a culture that can address all of these things. So people, first of all, are reluctant to jump into it because it's so much work. And we don't always do a really good job helping people be prepared. So sometimes it's a sink or swim. And, you do a 1 or 2 year part-time prep program, and you're just not going to be able to cover it all. I believe that sometimes what gets lost is that emotionally intelligent leadership, that high quality ability to build a culture that can do all the other things that we need to do, because it's one of, all of these things. So that intentional explicit effort is one thing that is a challenge. There are promising practices out there, though. So secondly, once people get into the job, as I said, it is so overwhelming. The learning curve is huge. I worked with principals in my previous job, and they worked so hard. And it was so hard for them to, for example, understand the broader system at the district and then the state level, not because they couldn't, not because they were digging their heels in and saying, I don't want to learn it. They just had so much going on. The day-to-day of a kid falls down and needs stitches and parents are coming. I mean, their day-to-day ability just is so limited. So how do we support them? The challenge is, how do we help them grow in their ability to be strong leaders so that they can build that culture that is needed? The most successful schools I see have leaders who build powerful, positive cultures, collaborative, and one that address all stakeholders in their communities.